to my Therapeutic Thursdays. This week, I have found out my 54-year-old female ex-husband, 52-year-old male, died alone, struggling with guilt and perspective. Listen, before I even read this, he's your ex-husband. Ex means that he is not your problem anymore. I know that you feel like, I don't know if maybe you feel like if you had been there when it happened, or y'all were not together because you didn't need to be together. You weren't supposed to stay with him until he died. We don't know these things. You cannot hold yourself accountable for something that you did not know. You are not with him anymore because of his behavior, not because you want him to die alone. Nobody wants that for anybody. You shouldn't want it, and it's just one of those things. Let's see what she says. Oh, trigger warning. He died from a suicide, so just in case, just a trigger warning, that's what this is about. I've never posted a question on Reddit before, although I've been a long-time reader and almost religious observer. I recently found out my ex-husband died around Christmas, but his body was only just found in his apartment 4 months later. He died alone, broke and alone. We have been divorced for about 13 years. 13 years! Yeah. And then you were divorced for a really long time. Now you're like you divorced him last year, and he died this year. It still would be the same thing, but I could see it. 13 years ago, how are you responsible for that? You're not. I divorced him after a very difficult period. He became deeply unhappy at work and got into serious credit and credit card debt, spending about $80,000 at the time, roughly a year of his wages, spending money trying to cheer himself up. Then his best friend died, and after that he shut me out emotionally. He became grumpy and distant and unaffectionate. I tried to support him for about a year, firstly being kind and understanding and paying for almost all household expenses. I suggested everything I could think of, changing jobs or fields, financial counseling, couples counseling. He wouldn't do any of these things. The sad thing about suicide is that there is not a lot you can do. If somebody doesn't want to be here anymore, you can give them all the things that you think that they need to stay, and it will not work. That's not your fault. You gave it a try. You did. You tried, and that's what you're supposed to do in sickness and in health, and you did that, and that's kind of what you have to do. Eventually, I became so worried about the financial situation, and I suggested divorce so we would both end up being declared bankrupt. Naturally, my mental health was at an all-time low by then. I hadn't fallen out of love with him, but it seemed pretty clear he didn't have any affection for me left at all. Any affection left for me. At the time of our divorce, he had a strong circle of friends. Over the years, I've now learned that he gradually cut off both of his friends and his family. I never imagined that would happen. I honestly thought he would live a long life complaining about work and having money problems, but just muddling through. Finding out his life ended has left me struggling to keep things in perspective. I keep asking myself whether there was anything I could have done differently. Was this just typical male behavior, and there was nothing that I could do? How do people make sense of something like this years later? It's never going to make sense to you. I'm going to tell you that now. Suicide don't make no sense. It makes sense to the person because they see it as the most selfless thing they can do. They're going to take themselves out and everybody won't have to worry about them anymore. I am a plague on everybody else. That's how it feels. And so they feel like they're doing a service to everybody in their life. They would be better off without them. And that may not be true. Usually it's not. But they've convinced themselves that it is, and it makes it easier to go through with it. I don't know that there was anything that you could have did or said. He needed to be in counseling. He needed to go and talk through why he was feeling that way. You couldn't fix it. He had to fix it. It was just going to keep going that way, unfortunately. So, I don't know that you should feel guilty. You should feel guilty if you didn't try. You tried. And you stayed for a whole year after all this started, and it still didn't get better. And sometimes it doesn't. And then for anybody that has had this happen, it is not your fault. It's a choice. It's a choice that people make, sometimes a poor choice, but a choice that people make, a really, really bad one. But they make it. And he made it. I don't know if there was anything that you could have done, because if this was his go-to, if this was how he solved his problems, inevitably he was always going to arrive here. He needed to go talk to somebody and learn that this was not the thing to do. I don't know that there was anything that you could have done. Let's see what the other Redditors said. It sounds like your ex-husband was mentally ill for quite some time. Depression is a insidious disease that can hide in plain sight. Often because those of us who suffer don't want others to know. We become really good at passing as fine. We don't want those we love to feel the same helplessness that we feel. You offer him support and options while married. Give me your thoughtful question. I feel sure that you would have been there to help him get treatment. Hey, he reached out for you after your divorce, but he didn't. You can't torture yourself with what ifs based on what you didn't know. Even with treatment, people who are depressed sometimes choose to end their life. It is a sad reality of the disease. I am sorry for you that you lost someone that you love very much to this disease, but you are in no way responsible. Please give yourself grace and understanding. You did the best you could with what you knew. That's all any of us can do. That's true. Nobody sees this coming. We never think that somebody's going to do that. That just seems so impossible, because we know we would never do it. But I'm telling you, people get in a dark place sometimes, and they feel like it just be better for everybody else, and all these problems will go away. Nobody will be feeling bad or down, not realizing that, they are going to put a hole in people's lives that they could not replace. It's very difficult, but I don't know that there was anything that you could do, and that's the sad truth. I would love to say that you could have done something that would have saved him, but that's not true. You might have prolonged him being here, but if he never went to go and get his own self straight, it was always going to be inevitable. Always. I'm sorry that you're suffering from this, and I hope you find closure for it. But I need you to stop blaming yourself, because it's not your fault. It is quite unfortunate. Very sad when someone does that. It is. It's very, very sad. And I can't even imagine. I've never had anybody in my life do it. So I can't even imagine what it would be like. Because you feel like, oh, I could have said this, I could have done that. You couldn't have. If somebody makes up their mind that they're going to do it, there is nothing that you're going to do or say that's going to turn them around, because it has nothing to do with you. It's with them. It was something in him that he needed to fix. And because he didn't do that, here we are. And that is very sad. And I'm very sorry for that. But stop blaming yourself. That's not going to do anything. Unfortunately, I am very sorry. That's it for this week. Hope you enjoyed it. And I will see you guys next week. Updates. My mom is moving out today, because I'm going to be back living by myself, which is good. I'm so excited. I think she thinks that I'm like worried or something. I lived by myself for years. I'm ready. I am really ready. I am fine. It'll be just getting my space back. I am really looking forward to that. I think it's a big milestone in this whole process of the stroke and all that. So I will be back to being by myself and being responsible for everything, which is great. I drive, I do all the things. I'm trying to get my business back together. I'm doing all the things, so I'm really excited about that. I wanted to share that. She's leaving 2 days, so today is her last day here, and then my younger brother is coming to visit me tomorrow. So it's going to be nice. It's going to be really nice. I will see you guys next week.